Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We featured a brand new team in the last episode, and it's definitely a very different team, kind of similar to the San Jose team, because it's really hyper-offensive. It's a lot of fun to use, but kind of a bit more read-based and very, very dependent on kind of lead positioning, similar, like I said, to the last team we used. So yeah, we're just going to try to play some games, and I played a little bit with it on stream the other day, and it was like a decent, I think I went 3-3, but there were a lot of good lessons learned from that. And so, yeah, I'm hoping to pilot the team, maybe at least take us to the 1700s or so, but we'll see how it goes. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please show support by leaving a like in the video. I would really appreciate it. Also, I just wanted to quickly apologize. I did miss out on an upload yesterday, and that's because I was actually competing in an online grassroots tournament. It was organized by a really good player over in Australia called Zelda VGC, and it was called the Melbourne Trip Challenge. The finals is actually linked in the description below if you're interested in watching, but yeah, I basically won the entire tournament. Had around 178 players or so. It's kind of like a regionals, basically, which was pretty cool. We're going to find Shnook from Pennsylvania for our first opponent of the day. It's actually a name I recognize. A really nice guy. But yeah, that's why. So I ended up winning like $1,500 from that tournament, and I did save all the games because they were played on Showdown, so I might do some analysis of those as well. As for the team I used, it was just the previous team we actually featured on Road to Ranked. Team breakdown will be coming for that team, and then after I'm done with this team as well. So Shnook here is going to be running a team of Araquanid, Kartana, Garchomp, Tapu Fini, Buzzwole, and Arcanine. So a really interesting team comp overall. You know, it's really funny. Every time I see other Garchomps, now I gotta be wondering if they're Scarfed, but I think it's pretty tough for that Garchomp to be Scarfed because there's no Levitate user or Flying type, so you can't just Earthquake that freely. So, based off that assumption, I'm gonna lead Coco. Yeah, I like Coco. My goal really should be to knock out the Kartana, because if I eliminate Kartana, then I kind of have a really, really nice time with Now Ego. Probably not going to bring Snorlax in this one. Coco Garchomp isn't that bad either, especially because I do have a surprise. It's just like, the one scary thing is if it's offensive Arcanine, which it very well could be. But you know what? Yeah, let's actually go Coco Gyarados in the back. I'll go Arcanine. Maybe I don't even bring Chomp here. Maybe I'll bring Ego instead. It feels a bit weird keeping Chomp on the bench, but I think I'm going to go for it. With this team comp, what I can do is, one, Gyarados pressures immediately with Dragon Dance. I mean, one of the issues is I do bring both my Z-Crystal users, but that's okay. I mean, when I was using the San Jose team, I would often bring Golduck and Lele in the back. So, you know, obviously you lose a little bit of firepower, but just really, if you can get one big Z attack off, then you're good. And we see Araquanid, Tapu Fini. Okay, this is pretty solid. I'm actually kind of glad I didn't lead with the Chomp. For multiple reasons here. I get the Intimidate off, and I pressure with Dragon Dance immediately on Gyarados' end. The one bad thing is, of course, I don't get my terrain up, but that's perfectly fine. So, there's nothing that can really switch into Thunderbolt on his team other than Garchomp. And I can just Dragon Dance. I think it's a relatively free Dragon Dance setup that I get here. Yeah. The question is, who do I want to Thunderbolt here? Because we're probably going to see a switch into Chomp. I really don't mind that too much. I think Araquanid switches out, so I'm going to Thunderbolt Fini, and... but you could... Araquanid puts on more offensive pressure right now. Whereas Fini, the most it does is Calm Mind. So yeah, let's Dragon Dance and Thunderbolt the Araquanid slot. Araquanid protects, that's fine. Fini at worst here gets a Dragon Dance, or Calm Mind up. He also could be Spexed. But I get the D-Dance up, and my Coco should survive the turn. But, yeah, the reason why I targeted Araquanid is because he could Z-move me if I don't target that slot. He's just going to Muddy Water. Indicating to me that might be Specs Fini as well. Let's see how much damage this does. Hopefully no accuracy drops or crits. Actually, it doesn't look like it's Specs Fini, and no accuracy drops. Okay. So that's super nice. Well, with that turn, I'm just going to double up into Araquanid here. I'm not too worried about Fini because I also have Now Ego in the back. See, I'm going to Ice Fang this slot and Thunderbolt it, because nothing can really switch into that combination of attacks. Turn 1 could have obviously been a little bit better if I targeted Fini, which I really heavily was considering, but I don't want to lose Coco. And Fini protects it, which is perfect, so Araquanid should go down. That's one of the nice things, you know, when your opponent goes for Protect, you can... It's, you know, they could go for a double Protect, but double protecting is a kind of a risky move early on in games. This Thunderbolt with specs, I don't have electric terrain, but I am modest max special attack, and it does pick up the knockout, which is very nice. So Rakwenid goes down, and I've got a +1 Gyarados with the Z move. Part of the reason why I did want to use that on this team is because I think, with Dragon Dance, it's just such a potent threat. So we see Kartana come in, and I'm fine with that. I'm very okay with that. Especially because Feeny protected last turn. Question really is, what could the last one potentially be? This one's kind of tricky. I do want to just double up into Feeny here. I think that's a fine move. Maybe I want to switch Coco out, though. Like, I kind of want to switch out into Arcanine because I do have HP Fire. Yeah, I'm going to switch into Arcanine. And I'm Ice Fanging Kartana in case he's sashed, so Coco can come back in and knock it out. Because if he's not sashed, like, Thunderbolt can just finish things off because it'll just outspeed everything. So I might sack Arcanine here, but Arcanine's not too important to me. Sure, it's a great way to deal with Kartana, but I've got the Coco in the back. No protect from anything. Okay. Decent amount from Ice Fang. Here's Leaf Blade. Go into Gyarados. Smart play. But I will be able to hang on there, and just the Muddy Water coming out. So yeah, I could have just doubled up on the Feeny slot, but I don't want Kartana to get a Beast Boost. Is that a crit? Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, that's fine. I'll bring Coco back in now. Definitely a little bit unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I just really don't know the item on Kartana. I think it's going to be AV, though. That crit definitely hurts a little bit. But, no worries. So I do have HP Fire. Thunderbolt probably knocks out Card anyway, though. Doubling a card might be risky, but I actually like that play right now. Yeah, I'll Waterfall here. Let's see. Feeny switches out, that's good. Garchomp? Perfect. So if Kartana doesn't protect here, which I don't think it will, it should be game. Yeah. That was the read I was making, and it fortunately paid off. Waterfall plus T-Bolt. Unless it's Scarf Kartana, which we've actually seen. But last turn revealed it's not. Yeah. Nice. And even, I'm assuming that's AV Kartana. So it was a little bit scary, because let's say he has Protect on Kartana, then you can Protect, and Feeny can get a Muddy Water off, although that shouldn't knock out either of my Pokemon. You could have Moonblasted as well, though, of course. But Feeny now just comes back in, and I'm in a pretty good position because I've got Nio-Ego in the back, so Nio-Ego actually just cleans up this game, basically. So I can just go for a pretty safe Thunderbolt onto the Feeny slot, and I'm going to Z-move into Garchomp. You could Protect Garchomp here, but like I mentioned, Nio-Ego's faster. Specs Thunderbolt could still knock out Feeny outright, although that looks like it's a bulkier Feeny, so I don't think it would. But this turn should work out in my favor. I mean, there's no reason to double up onto anything, I think, because Nio-Ego cleans up either of those Pokemon. And if I just get some damage off, like, unless Garchomp is Focus Sash, then it feints to the Water Z move. And, so if Feeny protects here, then I just win the game. So Garchomp does go for the Protect, which is smart. We'll see if Feeny protects. Probably not. Yep, it doesn't. So that was probably the best possible play for my opponent, but given, like, Garchomp reveal Protect, it means, one, I break any potential Focus Sash. It's probably Z move here. And Feeny can't knock out both of my Pokemon at once. He can only knock out one, and Nio-Ego actually could probably just solo the game anyway at this point, because Garchomp protected, so you get an HP Ice off, and Muddy Water doesn't knock out Nio-Ego because its special defense and HP stats actually pretty decent. So Hydro Vortex here, yeah, only does around 30%, but that's good damage anyway. And I will get the Specs Thunderbolt. Like, I could have doubled up onto Feeny there, but, you know, the concern is if Feeny protects, I don't know, actually reveals its berry, okay. So it looks like it's a 50% healing berry, yeah. The Wiki Berry, that's pretty cool. And he's just going to go for a Muddy Water. This might not knock out either of my Pokemon, but it'll be close. Let's see. Yeah, I hang on with a little bit with both. You get an accuracy drop there on Coco, though, which actually... Ooh. Well, that could be big. Should I switch out here? I don't see any reason to. So now it's a question of, can I hit my attacks? He might Protect Feeny as well. And Rock Slide. So, double accuracy drop. Maybe the only win condition at that point. Oh, he doesn't protect, though. Okay, and I hate Ice Fang, so it's game. That was super scary, though. But even if I missed both of my attacks there and Garchomp knocks me out, then it's a 50-50 with Nio Ego. Because the reason why I was actually hoping something would get knocked out there is because I'd get a free switch into Nio Ego, which can go for HP Ice. But fortunately, my attacks do connect here through the Muddy Water misses. I feel like there's literally a Muddy Water accuracy drop in every game on Road to Ranked. But we do end up pulling the win there. Super nice game, very well played by him as well. I feel like I just had a good lead advantage though, and that's why Dragon Dance Gyarados with the Water Z move is so strong. That's something that we saw Gyarados succeed a little bit earlier on in the season. Like, it had some really good performances over in London, but I feel like people haven't been using it as much. And there's a good reason for that. You know, everyone's using Tapu Koko. Part of the reason why I did want Scarf Chomp on this team is because you can Earthquake and just knock out most Kokos. Of course, we've seen some bulkier variants as well, like Ray Rizzo's Specs Koko, but I'm just using a full offensive one for the sake of this team. So, we're going to win that win. I'd really like to just push into the 1700s pretty soon. But I did see someone commented a pretty cool point the other day. It was like, yeah, it's nicer when you play the lower ladder teams because you run into some stuff you might not normally run into. But this next one's pretty interesting because it's actually Wolf Glick's London team. I was just talking about the London International. So most of these sets I think I'm familiar with, but it's like Z-Move Salamence with Sub, Politoed with Perish Song, Porygon 2, Gluttony Muck, Typical 1, Magnezone, and Bulu. So I think Nio Ego definitely sticks out because it puts on pressure against Mence and Bulu immediately. So as a result, I don't anticipate my opponent leading with either of those. Garchomp with Z-Move is really good. Snorlax might have to come out here because of the potential Trick Room option for my opponent. I do want to still leave. I think still leading Koko is solid, yeah. Koko and Gyarados is so tempting. A lot of people ask how I deal with Trick Room, and I need to go Snorlax here to properly deal with it. But I really don't know what to lead with. That's the tricky part. I think Koko and Nio Ego probably puts on the most offense since Garchomp can get intimidated. And in the back, I'm going to want Snorlax, and I think probably... This one's tough. Both Gyarados. You can make a case for Gyarados and Arcanine. But I think I like Gyarados a little bit more because Gyarados can actually switch into Muck, and Muck really can't do too much damage against it. One of Muck's main means of damage output is knockoff, and obviously you can't knock off Z-Crystos. So the combination of, you know, you being able to intimidate Muck and them not being able to knock you off means they can't do too much damage. But there are a lot of factors in this game. I mean, I think Magnezone's definitely a threat, but I do have the Snorlax to just high horsepower it if Trick Room does go up. Or even if outside of Trick Room. We actually see Magnezone Porygon too. Okay. That's a really solid lead option for my opponent, I think. And this is tricky. The other frustrating thing is I do set up the terrain for my opponent. But that's fine. I think I'm going to actually just simply go for a Thunderbolt here. It's not going to do too much to Magnezone, but hopefully bring it in high horsepower KO range, and hopefully Porygon sets up Trick Room for me. So, like, leading Arcanine would have been a lot better. We'll see if my Trick Room strategy works here. It's worked out pretty well so far in the games I played with this team, but it's not always that easy. Especially because I did set up the terrain for my opponent. So I'm going to switch on Nio Ego here because its offensive output's just not that great. Chomp could have been worth considering, actually. Actually, come to think about it, high horsepower probably knocks out Magnezone anyway. And that did so much, wow. He just Flash Cannons, hopefully into Nio Ego. No, it looks like it's going into Coke. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, perfect. And Trick Room? Nice. Cool, cool. So that's what I wanted to happen. And I got what I was looking for, which is good. And yep, it looks like it is just verbatim Wolf's team. I mean, Magnezone having lefties there. So now the question is, do I high horsepower that slot? I actually really want to double up into it because nothing can switch into that combination of attacks. Yeah, actually, I'm just going to go for that play. Snorlax is still sitting pretty healthy. As long as I don't miss high horsepower, it should be good. And let's say he stays in and just attacks. High horsepower knocks that out. Porygon, the Thunderbolt gets redirected to Porygon anyway. Worst case, Magnezone protects, as it does. But I don't think Porygon has too much damage output here anyway. And I just stall out a turn to Trick Room. Could have cursed there, but not worked. Magnezone potentially Thunderbolt. He's just going to try attack. Okay. Into Koko. H does under 50%. Perfect. So obviously, kind of scary of a turn. But I can make the exact same play here, and I'm was fine making a relatively safe play there. Once again, nothing can really switch into this combination. So now if anything switches in, it gets knocked out most likely. Other than Bulu, actually. Maybe I should have considered the Bulu switch in. I don't even know if my opponent wanted to bring Bulu, though, against this kind of team composition. Especially with Gyarados and Arcanine. So Bulu's probably the best switch in here. But it'll still take some damage. Magnezone to switch out. I think Bulu's coming in. Yeah, that's so obvious. But that's cool. So I might curse now. I might start cursing. Yeah, Bulu's not going to take too much damage here. This should be the Ice Beam, so that's interesting. That's going to do even less, yeah. Maybe fishing for a freeze or fishing for a Garchomp switching. I'll take that turn, though. Especially because with grassy terrain, Snorlax is actually healing up now. Okay, we've seen Tri-Attack and Ice Beam. I didn't remember if Wolf's Porygon had Thunderbolt, but that means it shouldn't, which is actually really good news for me. So I'm actually going to withdraw it into Gyarados here, and I'm going to Curse. Yeah. I think this is a game where Snorlax actually could literally 1v4 the team, especially with Recycle, so that's what I'm going for. And this is a case where if he, like, gets a status condition on the Snorlax, that's actually beneficial for me because I have Facade. So the first, I mean, like, I could have played those last two turns better. I forgot kind of about the Bulu switching as well, but now he's at -1 attack with Bulu, and I'm at +1 attack in defense with Snorlax. And I can heal back with Recycle, which is key. So he's going for Ice Beam. I think he's fishing for a freeze. No, he's going for Gyarados. Okay. No freeze. Nice. And he's just going to Horn Leech. Crits. Really? That's super frustrating because without that crit, what I can do is swap in and back out. So that definitely hurts a lot. But we'll try to play around that. Okay. I'll bring in Ego, yeah. Ah, that crit hurt so much. So Protect from Ego is kind of obvious. Wolf's Bulu, if I remember correctly, didn't even have anything to deal with it, though. But I might still Protect here. His answer against Snorlax is going to be Perish on Politoed. Yeah, if he has that, which he probably should. I'm going to Sludge Bomb and Curse here. Yeah. Maybe that wasn't the best of attacks, because if he does knock out Ego, then I have Specs Coco, and Trick Room's not over yet. I should have just protected to play it safe. I went for a hard read here. I don't think it's going to pay off. That crit's so frustrating, though. Bulu switches out. Okay, that's actually kind of what I was hoping for. So Magnezone does come back in. Nice. Okay, so we're not out of it yet. Could have high horsepower that slot, but that's fine. Because Porygon's not doing anything damage-wise right now. Yeah, he's just going to Ice Beam. So he's going for a freeze, basically. Or to break a Sash on Ego's end. Yeah. So my opponent's been making really good switch-ins, and I haven't been capitalizing enough of that, but my Snorlax is looking kind of like a beast right now. So he's going to heal, but Trick Room's going to expire the next turn. So now I do have to make an important decision. Because I can double up on a Porygon. I'm definitely Sludge Bombing Porygon. The question is, do I high horsepower here? My opponent knows I have high horsepower, so I really can't just see him letting me get it off, but this might be the turn you finally attack with Magnezone. He's been playing super defensively, though. I really do want to double up into Porygon here. But I think it's... I think Magnezone here is going to protect. But... Like, if I were him, I would actually just attack. I'm gonna go for the high horsepower. This could make me look silly. Let's see if he protects. Nah, he just switches out. Okay. Politoed? Nope, back into Bulu. Okay. So that's interesting, because... Wow, that does so much. Oh, okay, I actually get a crit there. He's just gonna Ice Beam me, yeah. Into Lax this time, so now he's going for the freeze. Doesn't get it, though. So the Bulu switch in here is interesting because now Trick Room expires. And it's like, do you want to set up Trick Room again? Because if you do, I mean, I can leverage that to my advantage. This is a super intense game so far. My opponent's been making better plays, but sometimes with the team comp, you don't need to necessarily be making reads. It's just frustrating because they're... Oh wait, Trick Room didn't expire there. Whoops! I actually forgot about that. Okay. He should protect here, yeah. I'm just gonna protect and go for a Facade here to get damage on a Porygon, yeah. Because 2 Facades might knock him out. Protect on now Ego's kind of obvious, so I really would have loved to attack there, but I don't think I can risk it right now. Part of me does wish... Yeah, I don't know why I thought Trick Room was ending, actually. That was kind of a bad foresight. So I'm going to protect with Nihilego, play it safe. He's just going to Horn Leech into protect. Nice. And he doesn't go for a recover. Ooh, he doubles up in a Nihilego. That's really good for me. Because this Facade, it's not going to knock him out, but another one will knock him out. So now I get a pretty safe play of Sludge Bomb into... Actually, maybe... Do I want to Sludge Bomb Bulu? I still should. It's the most optimal play. Like, there's nothing wrong with Sludge Bombing Bulu and just Facading Porygon. Because Porygon, if it wants to set up Trick Room, will just get knocked out. So it has to attack here, basically. Bulu could switch out, but that means Porygon faints. And he has nothing for Snorlax right now. And I haven't even popped my berry yet. And I've still got Coco in the back to potentially deal with Politoed. So, this game's super intense and long. But I think I've put myself in a position where I'm content. It is frustrating, though, because the first 2 turns at Trick Room, like, I could have been in a much better position. Like, the Protect on Magnezone was so obvious, the switching to Bulu was obvious, and I wasn't making hard enough reads. But once again, my opponent doesn't have anything for Snorlax, and the Pokemon that can slightly give Snorlax trouble, and he stays in with Bulu. Ooh, that's so nice. Yeah, that's just a free knockout. That's a Beast Boost as well, and now you go. Like, once it even gets a singular Beast Boost off, oh man, it's a threat. So maybe hoping I would Sludge Bomb Porygon there. He might recover with Porygon, or he's just going to Ice Beam. And he just Ice Beam, so it's a double knockout here if he doesn't freeze. He's targeting now Ego anyway. Please don't freeze. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's bound to happen with so many Ice Beams, but come on. Okay, it really hinges off the last one, though, because you actually can't Perish Song to win the game anymore. Magnezone can't really do too much to Snorlax, so let's see what the 4th one is. I'm at +2. I mean, the freeze probably doesn't lose me the game, but... And it is Muk. Okay, I think I've still got this, then. With high horsepower. But, oh, that's frustrating. Okay. Muk could try to get rid of my berry right now. But he does... Okay, the one thing I'm fearing is setting up electric terrain for my opponent. That means Magnezone will be doing more damage, although Wolf's Magnezone's pretty defensive. Yeah, I'm gonna double up into Muk here. I'm expecting a Magnezone Protect Muk knockoff. Oh, I thaw out. Neither protects, so this should be game. Unless I miss. That would be bad. He just Thunderbolts. Okay. Nice. So as long as I don't miss high horsepower here, I'm good. He's probably knockoffing into Nihilego. Yep. Oh, into Snorlax. Even better. And there's the high horsepower. So, the reason why I don't like that play from my opponent is because the Thunderbolt's actually going to proc my berry, and you should assume that I do have the berry. Another fun fact, I believe if you knock off the berry, then you actually can't recycle it anymore. So, what my opponent should have done was, I think, protect Magnezone. Well, that's the read I was expecting, right? Magnezone and knock off onto Snorlax. You might also want to pressure a knockout onto Nihilego, because then you know you'll get the electric terrain up, because you know I have Coco in the back. But now it's a pretty, you know, clean setup here of just high horsepowering and power genning. And yep, we do get the forfeit from our opponent, so we are going to win both games in this episode. But yeah, I don't know. The first one I was pretty happy about. It was like lead matchup kind of heavy. And the second one, it was really scary at first, but like people were like, what's your answer against Trick Room? Your team's so offensive. Well, Snorlax really just proved its worth there. It literally got up 2 curses. My opponent had literally no way to deal with it whatsoever. And if you're my opponent, I think your answer is probably to get a status condition off against it. Muk does absolutely nothing. Porygon doesn't do anything bar a status condition. But I have Facade if you paralyze, burn, or poison me. So those two don't do anything. Bulu, it's like, Wolf's Bulu was really, like, defensive too with Lumberry, and I think he even had Leech Seed, so, like, that's not even a good answer, especially with Intimidate on my team. Magnezone doesn't do anything either, so that was a team, like, that was a game, basically, that Snorlax literally could have 1v4'd the entire team. Like, if it were Snorlax just by itself at the end, I'd still feel very confident about my chances of winning once I got my boost, because he'd have to crit me or status condition me. The only status condition that really matters, too, is Freeze or potentially Paralysis. Otherwise, like, I think Politoed really needed to have been brought in that game for a Perish Song setup, because what you do if, and Wolf's Politoed, of course, did have Perish Song. I don't know if my opponent did have Perish Song on his, but what happens is if you do have Perish Song, you basically threaten Snorlax to switch out, and that's a big deal, because if it gets Curse Boosts going and there's nothing to pressure to switch out, then, you know, it just sits there the entire time. So, yeah, Snorlax, really, really good there, and basically kind of proved why that's one of the reasons why I wanted to use it. I'm glad that now Eagle, Snorlax, the two Pokemon I built this team around, have been having good success. So, that's going to be it for this episode. Really fun games today for you guys, and I was really happy to demonstrate Snorlax's strength. Hopefully we can continue as we play some more games and just keep it going. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, peace.